And we're back, everybody. As you can see, I made a few modifications. Last I left you at the furnace making steel. As you can see, I went ahead and sealed up the area. I also just released a bit of oxide into the atmosphere, and I am holding here at 90.1%. I did what you can also do is hold C, and if you give this a little tick, it'll go by 1, and you'll see the pressure going up a little bit, and then just kind of shut it off, or click on it without holding C, it'll go up by 10. And just kind of give it a little bit, see if it holds. You know you've sealed everything up. And also, you're going to use that steel in the electronics printer. And what you want to do is search for battery, and you want kit battery. Now, sometimes these don't show up down here in the kit, so you'll need to scroll, and that's going to require 20 gold, 20 copper, and 20 steel. And as you see, I placed them out here. I just wired it in from the solar panels, and that goes from the solar panels straight to the battery, nothing else. And then it comes down from that battery to these batteries here, as well as this battery and this big battery. Swap this out, put a small battery in here, and I want my big battery in my airlock. If I ever need a battery, this battery in this airlock will never be removed, and it will be used to power everything in my airlock and keep it running, so I can come and go as I please. If I run out of power or something, it's there. As you can see, my suit in the top right up here, waste capacity, bit of an error there in the not named properly in the code, and we're still going to shut everything down even though we have power. Let's see if I don't have it in here. Okay, I also have the powered bench. I'm gonna place that outside. Okay, so that's so as you can see, that power cable runs solely to that battery, and it makes sure it charges this battery. It'll also charge everything else first before this battery gets charged. Every thing kind of goes through. Next, we want to add some atmosphere. Now we have very little O2 in here, so I am going to grab. There we go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start adding some oxide. As you see, it's still pretty cold, but comfortable. And I'm going to cool it back down even further. Okay, so I need to eat. I'm still going to come into my airlock. I'm going to make sure this is off. And I'm going to split off the oxide in here. As you can see, now it'll melt. Even if it's dark out, this will warm up. Even if it's dark out, I'll still be able to put some oxide in this room because it is above 1 degree, and I'll be able to pressurize the area. So I'm still going to continue to eat and drink inside my airlock, but I'm just going to open up into the room, and it's going to slowly pressurize the room over time. Now I'm getting a little bit of CO2 in here. Now we also have another thing, is our suit waste capacity is at 82%, giving us a little warning there. So I'm going to hit 4 or click on it at not 4, 3, and I've got this waste container. This is everything that's coming out of, that's being filtered, as well as some oxygen, a little bit of nitrogen. So I'm going to click on it and I'm going to open it, and that's it. And we're going to add that to the room until we get above 20, and then I'll be able to breathe in here. But now you can see we've got quite a bit of CO2, which is enough, in fact. You can plant in here. We're not going to plant just yet. We do need a bit of pressure. Just like you can breathe pure O2 at a low pressure at the top of a mountain, plants at a low pressure, they're going to need pure CO2. So otherwise we increase the pressure and we'll both be fine. We're going to see what else can we print. Well, now we can go into our electronics printer, and we're going to build a one logic IO, and we're going to print 2 of those. And we're going to print a kit solar panel, and we're going to see how many we can get. 5 gold, 20 copper, and 15 steel. Looks like I can print 3 of those. You don't need 4, 5, or 10. Just 3 is more than enough. And now I can charge this battery, and this big battery will drain into the small battery here, so it'll definitely get charged up. Okay, we need a bit more copper. I would like to have 2 of them. Now remember that sensor that I put in the airlock? I'm going to take you down, and I've got the sensor. So now I have a kit solar panel, I have 2 logic IOs, and I have the sensor that I originally put in the airlock over here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have a daylight sensor, and we're going to face this data port right here. It's going to face to the north. It does make it easier so there's no math involved, but as you can see, the solar angle, the vertical, is 172 degrees. We're not worried about horizontal. And we're also going to face this this data port. You notice I can go have them separated, or I can have them together. We're going to have this data port facing to the east. And what we're going to do is we're going to place in a logic writer, and then you also want a batch writer. We need to get out our screwdriver, and what we're going to read, we see it says no device and the variable. So we want the batch writer, the daylight sensor. So we want to read from the daylight sensor. We want to read the variable of the vertical. And I did not do this on purpose, but this is a good thing what you can do, is if you send the data out here and straight into the batch writer, there's only one thing I can pick up. I cannot cycle through all the different things because I want to read that anyways. If you have multiple logic readers on your network, you need to name them. But if I have this, there's no big deal. I also want to send it out solar panel dual. I want to write the vertical. I want it to go up and down, and I want to turn that on. Now it's going to start angling itself. Well, that's not the correct direction, so we're going to turn the horizontal so it's facing the sunrise. And then we also want to turn this guy on, so now it's getting the actual angle. And it should follow it, but it seems to be following it in the wrong direction. And that's probably because we did not face this to the east. It's reading 66 degrees, and this is where 66 degrees is. So it should be going up. what we need to do is turn this guy around. So there, now we turn it around and it says horizontal 270. Let's get a piece of glass on there, and first let's look and see we're generating 620, 704 watts, slowly going up. But if we get this guy on here, we're getting 490 watts alone from this solar panel. And it seems I messed it up. This is if I bring this data over to here. And now I read the daylight sensor. I make sure to turn this off, but I'm going to read the horizontal and then turn that on, but I'm outputting the vertical, and we should be good. 498 the whole time. So it's kind of the direction that you orient this is the direction you orient this data port is what it is, what's going to determine what. If you face it to the north, the solar sensor, it will read correctly vertical 1-to-1. Don't ask me why this is. It's got something to do with coding, because in navigational 0 is north, 90 is to the right, but in coding 0 is to the right and 90 is straight up. So there's something to do with that. But I can tell you I'm getting a lot more power from this. And I'm going to go into the auto lathe. What we wanted was electrum, constantan, and some solder. 8 of each. And we're going to need actually more than that. So our next task is going to be to go find lead and nickel and gather up any more ores out there that we can. Make sure you subscribe so you can find out when the next episode's coming around. Thanks for watching.